George Russell has made it clear that there will be no peace talks with Max Verstappen. The Mercedes driver says that he has no intention of reaching out to his Red Bull rival to settle their differences after last season's heated altercation. This feud is getting out of hand, and you've got front-row tickets to see it. Their feud erupted at the Qatar Grand Prix when Verstappen was penalised for impeding Russell, prompting the Dutchman to claim he had lost all respect for the Briton. Russell, however, fired back, suggesting Verstappen struggles when faced with adversity. Speaking at the F175 event at London's O2 Arena on Tuesday, Russell confirmed to BBC Radio he and Verstappen hadn't spoken over the winter, and by the sounds of it, that won't be changing anytime soon. "I've got no intentions to be honest," he said. "That happened last year. I want to focus on myself. Things got out of line last year. That was then. We are not going to go back to being best mates, that's for sure." The tension between George Russell and Max Verstappen shows no signs of cooling off after their fiery clash last season. The two drivers, who have had their share of on-track run-ins in previous years, ended 2023 on a sour note, and the rivalry rumbles on. Later on Tuesday, Verstappen was asked about Russell's latest remarks, to which he replied, "I have no intention of continuing any kind of beef in February. I have nothing to say about that subject." And when asked whether he had reservations about the situation, Russell said, "No concerns about him or his driving. I'm not going to change my approach fighting him or other drivers." Apart from this driver dispute, Russell didn't hold back on yet another hot topic. The 27-year-old, who serves as a director of the Grand Prix Drivers Association, or the GPDA, voiced his concerns over the FIA's new rules that could see drivers penalised or even banned for swearing or criticising race officials. Russell made his stance clear, signalling that the drivers' battle isn't just on the track, it's off it too. "It's going quite far. As drivers, we have to continue to show our personalities. We don't want to be in a bubble. That's pretty obvious. There is merit in saying you shouldn't swear in an environment like this, a news conference. But when it's not your first language, the first words you get taught are the swear words." Max Verstappen has never been one to hold his tongue. But last year, it nearly landed him in hot water. The four-time world champion was ordered to complete motorsport community service after letting an expletive slip during a news conference at the Singapore Grand Prix. In response, Verstappen took matters into his own hands, limiting his answers in an official FIA press conference the next day and opting to speak to journalists outside the designated room instead. Now, with the FIA ramping up punishments for swearing, Verstappen was once again asked for his thoughts. And in true Verstappen fashion, he didn't hold back. "I don't need to say anything, everyone's reaction to it, that says enough. I of course understand you cannot swear anywhere. But in the heat of the moment, playing sport, sometimes things slip out a little bit. Plus, we all grew up playing sport or football. It happens that you use a swear word, and we shouldn't take it so serious. I am not going to tell you how you should behave in life, but we have to deal with it." Max Verstappen didn't dive in right away when pressed on the FIA's stricter stance on driver language. Speaking at a press conference ahead of the F175 launch event at London's O2 Arena, the Red Bull star was reserved at first, keeping his response brief. Verstappen kept it simple, saying, "I prefer not to speak about that, might get in trouble." But in a roundtable discussion a few moments after, the Red Bull driver let his lips loosen a little. "Honestly, from my side, I think it's not necessary to be like that with the rules. I think you need to use a bit of common sense. Besides that, I prefer that we actually focus on other topics to try and improve safety, try and improve the overall performance of F1 cars, instead of actually having to focus on all these kinds of things. It's a bit unnecessary, I think." When pressed on the possibility of losing a championship due to a race ban stemming from swearing, Max Verstappen let his thoughts known. He added, "That's why I think it's just a bit much." In other Red Bull-related matters, Max Verstappen has thrown his support behind his new teammate, Lawson, as the Kiwi steps up to a full-time seat with the reigning champions. The Dutchman expects a fiercely competitive 2025 season, with McLaren and Ferrari closing the gap in last year's constructors' fight. Lawson's promotion comes after Red Bull parted ways with Sergio Perez, following a challenging campaign for the Mexican driver. While 2025 marks Lawson's first full season in Formula One, he's no stranger to the grid, having previously filled in for Daniel Ricciardo twice. With 11 races already under his belt, The 22-year-old is set to hit the ground running when the paddock arrives in Melbourne for the season opener. Liam Lawson's fearless racing style and point-scoring performances with Racing Bulls made a strong impression, and now he's earned his shot at Red Bull's top team. The Kiwi delivered standout drives in his substitute appearances, proving he could hold his own in wheel-to-wheel battles, securing 3 points finishes along the way. With Yuki Tsunoda also in contention for the coveted Red Bull seat, he is taking Red Bull's decision in stride. Despite delivering strong performances in 2024, the Japanese driver admitted he understands why the team chose Liam Lawson over him for the coveted top seat. Now entering his 5th consecutive season with Red Bull's sister outfit, Tsunoda is set to partner Formula 2 runner-up Isaac Hadjar, a rising star from the Red Bull Junior team. Hadjar joins a wave of fresh talent making their full-time Formula 1 debuts this season, adding another layer of intrigue to the 2025 grid. Speaking ahead of F1 75 Live, Tsunoda reflected on the decision and his mindset heading into the new season. Last year's things I've already kind of parked and put out of my head, to be honest. At the moment they officially announced it, I didn't actually feel super angry or disappointed. Maybe I was prepared inside my head at some point. In the end, whether I'm at Racing Bulls, VCARB or Red Bull, the things I have to do are the same. I've just got to stick to what I'm doing. I understand why they chose Liam. It is what it is. There are things I can't control. I'll just keep focused on myself and try to prove myself more. Yuki Tsunoda delivered his strongest Formula 1 season yet in 2024, securing 12th place in the Drivers' Championship with 30 points, his best career finish. His impressive progress didn't go unnoticed, with Racing Bulls team principal Laurent Mekies calling his season outstanding. Yet despite his step forward, Tsunoda's future remains to be seen. His longtime backers at Honda are set to part ways with Red Bull and join Aston Martin in 2026, just as F1's next major regulation shift takes effect. With the landscape set to change, the 24-year-old faces a crucial period in his career. Tsunoda addressed the uncertainty and his outlook for the seasons ahead, saying, "Obviously, I would like to stay in this Red Bull family. If it's Red Bull Racing, that's amazing. If not, then I'd still love to be in this part of the team. I've already been in this team for 5 years, and I feel connected to the people here, which is very important as a driver to develop myself and focus on what I want to do. I feel a lot of support from them, which means a lot to me. Whatever happens, there can be interesting options." Red Bull ultimately chose to bet on the slightly younger Lawson, a move that Max Verstappen can get behind. The reigning champion praised Red Bull's decision while acknowledging that he and Lawson haven't had many deep discussions about the car just yet. "We've seen each other at the photo shoots," he said. "I'm sure it's going to be fine. I've seen Liam grow throughout the junior team and he fully deserves his shot with the team. I'm excited to work together and have a great season again." How will Max Verstappen fare against competition from both inside and outside Red Bull? Comment your prediction down below. And as always, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Thanks for watching.